morning, everyone, and welcome to the Rock by CPL event. My name is Joe Butler, and I'm the manager of education programs for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I hope wherever you are today, you're safe, you're well, and you're surrounded by some friends and family that are ready to have some good times with us today, where we are going to be talking about music, listening to some music, and our friends at the Cleveland Public Library are going to be talking about some great books related to music that you can find at your local libraries and doing some other really fun activities with us. The Rock by CPL event is part of our celebration of our 2021 inductions to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It is generously supported by PNC, and we're so grateful to have their support so we can provide great programming like this to you today. The program that you're going to see today has a lot of great things, so I'd love to just tell you a little bit about what you're going to see. First of all, we're going to have some great programming from our education staff at the Rock Hall and from the education staff at the Cleveland Public Library. We're also going to have some great live music performances by Flanagan and Brent Kirby from the Sunday Classic. We're going to see a really cool presentation where we meet the instruments from our friends at Keep Music Alive. And we're going to do a whole host of other really cool things along the way. As I mentioned, the 2021 inductions for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will be taking place here in Cleveland, Ohio at the Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on October 30th. If you're curious about information regarding the ceremony, please check out our website, rockhall.com. The group that we are inducting this year includes some amazing names from the history of rock and roll.
What's love got to do with it? And it's too late, baby. Yeah, they got to be.
Good girls going bad, the city's filled with them.
One by one, hidden up my sleeve.
Hello, it's me.
Will not be televised. The revolution will be no rerun, brothers. The revolution will be live.
Nothing from nothing leaves nothing.
To listen to the music and work of many of those artists, you can go to our Spotify playlist. If you just find the Rock Hall on Spotify, you can find that playlist or even find it on our website as well. And you can listen to all those great artists yourself at home. Another great way to celebrate this 2021 class of inductees is going to be our Celebration Day, which we will be hosting at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame on October 24th. That event is going to run from 10 a.m. until 8 p.m. and it's going to have a whole host of great activities. Outside on our plaza, we'll have tons of free activities for anybody that wants to come down and visit the plaza, including live music, family activities, music venues and record stores from around the area will be sharing their records and their merch for you to come check out and buy. And we will also have our friends from Hungry for Music. This organization gives instruments to music programs all over the country. And if you donate an instrument to them on our Celebration Day, you will be entered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame induction ceremonies at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse on October 30th. So please consider donating to them and coming down and seeing us. As an added benefit for all of our Ohio residents, we are offering free admission to the museum on that day, October 24th. So if you live in the state of Ohio and you have proof of residency, please come on down and visit our museum for free during the Celebration Day. We can't wait to see you. For today's program, I'm excited to get us started by handing it over to the Rock Hall's education instructor, Deanna Nebel, and the Cleveland Public Library's Youth Services Program Director, Erica Marks. They've got a great activity that's going to have us drawing some fun pictures, listening to some cool songs, and also talking about stories in a really fun way. So Erica and Deanna, take it away.
Hi everyone, my name is Deanna and I am the education instructor at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and I'm joined today by
Erica Marks, and I am the Youth Services Programming Director at the Cleveland Public Library.
So today we're talking about stories. I like stories.
I like stories too.
And I like reading stories
I love reading.
with all kinds of books. And lately, I've been thinking a lot about how you can hear a story in music, in fact.
That's very true.
And so one of the things I like to do is I like to just like think about and imagine the story. And what I often like to do too is I like to draw.
I like to draw too.
Would you like to draw to a story with me?
Absolutely.
So I have some worksheets here that you can find on Rock Hall EDU. You can go to edu.rockhall.com. This is the Johnny Be Good drawing prompt. And what we do is, this particular time, we're gonna think about the song Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, but you can do this with any song that you are a fan of and that you are a fan of.
Yes.
But for the song Johnny Be Good, I thought we could find some different parts of a story. I thought we could look for the setting of the story. Can you help us out and remind everyone what the setting of a story is?
Sure. So the setting of a story is when and where the story takes place.
And then after the setting, any good story is going to have some characters.
Absolutely.
So characters would be...
Characters are any people or animals or anything that is personified in the story.
I like how you said animals too. Sometimes I
Yeah.
forget. Or like if you know, maybe an object comes to life. Maybe.
Yes.
And then the last thing I thought we could draw is the plot of a story.
Yeah. So the plot of the story are the events that take place in the story.
That's like, yeah. So, what do we think about watching a video for this song?
I would love to watch a video.
Let's go ahead and watch Chuck Berry performing in 1995 at the Concert for the Rock Hall. He's going to be performing with Bruce Springsteen and the E Street Band. Let's take a watch.
Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, back up in the woods among the evergreens. Stood a long time between the earth and wood. Well, it's a country boy named Johnny Be Good. Never learned to read or write so well. He could play his guitar like a ringing a bell. I say go, 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 go. I say go. Told him someday you're gonna be a big man. You'll be the leader of a big old band. Many people come to find you around. Hear you play rock when the sun goes down. Maybe someday your name will be in lights and Johnny Be Good. You know to say go. Go, Johnny, go. Go, Johnny, go. Go, Johnny, go. Go, Johnny,
That was a cool performance.
That was a really cool performance.
He actually is our very first inductee at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame.
Really?
Yeah, he is the very first person ever to be inducted. So it's a cool fun fact for us and for all of you watching. So that song did go by a little fast for drawing, though. So I was thinking we could read the verses to everyone watching, and then we can, for each verse, we can look for a different part of a story.
That sounds great.
So would you read the first verse? And let's think about the setting of the story. So where are we in this story?
All right. First verse. Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens, there stood a cabin, a log cabin, made of earth and wood, where lived a country boy named Johnny Be Good, who never ever learned to read or write so well, but he could play a guitar just like a ringing bell.
Good guitar player.
I would love to learn how to play the guitar.
So where are we in this story?
Well, he said deep down in Louisiana, which is in New Orleans. And I see he mentions the woods.
I find drawing trees really approachable for me. And then he also mentioned the log cabin.
Yes, he did.
So maybe we, and you can join us, we can draw the woods and a log cabin and a house.
Yes, let's do it.
So I drew,
Nice.
thank you, I drew some trees and a log cabin, and for some reason I imagined that the roof was red. But you can imagine the woods and the log cabin in Louisiana and New Orleans however you'd like. For the next verse, though, for the second verse of lyrics, I thought we would look at the characters in the story. Is it okay if I read the second verse?
Please do.
He used to carry his guitar in a gunny sack. That's kind of like an old-fashioned word for a backpack. Go sit beneath the tree by the railroad track. Oh, the engineers would see him sitting in the shade, strumming with the rhythm that the drivers made. People passing by, they would stop and say, "Oh my, but that little country boy could play." What do you think for characters for that one?
Well, I see for that one, for the characters, they're talking about a boy who could play the guitar. Can I say the character's name?
I don't know if they mentioned it, but I think it's implied.
I think it's implied too.
Yeah.
But okay, so we'll leave that one out.
Oh, okay. Maybe it's a surprise at the end.
Maybe.
I also, I noticed that there were engineers driving the train.
Yes.
I think that's what I'm gonna draw.
Nice.
Yeah. What are you gonna draw?
I'm gonna draw a boy playing the guitar.
Nice. What are you gonna draw? So this is what I drew for the characters for the second verse. I really liked the idea of the train and the engineers driving the train. So that was the character I picked, but you can pick any character that really spoke to you. I know you were talking about Johnny playing the guitar.
Yes.
But I guess I'm really a fan of the red crayon today because I'm adding red into a lot of my drawings today.
The red really pops.
So for this last verse, what do you think about finding the plot of the story?
Let's do it.
All right, let's read this verse and see if anything happens.
All right. His mother told him someday, "You will be a man, and you will be the leader of a big old band. Many people coming from miles around to hear you play your music when the sun go down. Maybe someday your name will be in the lights saying Johnny Be Good tonight."
So we have a new character
Yes.
that came into the story, Johnny's mom. And she tells him something that's super important to the plot of this song. She encourages him and says, maybe you'll be famous someday with your name in lights.
Yes.
So what do you think you would draw for the plot of this story?
I think I would draw big lights with Johnny's name, bright.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So here's what I drew. Johnny's name in the lights. This is like his name is being highlighted for a concert.
Ooh.
and people are coming to see him, is what I imagine.
Yeah, like the tickets are sold out, and it's a really
Yeah.
exciting concert.
Yeah, like his mom, said for him.
Listen to your mom all the time. They're
Yes.
usually right.
Moms are always right.
This was very fun, Erica.
Yes, I enjoyed this. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining me. Thanks for drawing and thinking about stories with me, and for everyone else as well. Back to you, Joe.
Deanna, Erica, thank you so much. That was really great, and I hope everybody's drawings out there look awesome. I'm sure they do. Next up in our program, we actually have some great music to share with you. Our friends Brent Kirby and Ray Flanagan come together to form the Sunday Classic. They are two of Northeast Ohio's most prolific songwriters, and in this group, they dig deep into their individual catalogs to share their music with us. So we're going to take a look at a couple of their performances right now.
Well, the only thing it takes, the only thing it takes, the only thing it takes is to hold you. Oh, I can prove it with my arms, mama, with these arms, these arms, with these arms, yeah, yeah. The only thing that's fake, the only thing that's fake, mama, the only thing that's fake is that I don't care. Oh, I can prove it with my tears, mama, with these tears. Well, you can say what you wanna. 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 The only thing it takes, the only thing it takes, the only thing it takes is your heart. Oh, I can't take it all, fold it up. Well, we've got to open up, yeah. Woo, 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 hey, hey. Well, you can say what you wanna. 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 The only thing it takes, the only thing it takes, the only thing it takes is to hold you. Oh, I can prove it with my arms. Sweet mama with these arms. You got to open up. Open up. You got to open up. Open up. You got to open. I can prove it. 2, 1, 2, 3. Over the hill on the wrong side of the road, I'm all hunched over trying to gather a load, and I'm dodging cars, losing the sun behind. I don't think too much about the point of it all. I just wait around until I get a call to go over the hill on the wrong side of the road again. Money drives us to love and hate. I can't afford new jeans. I've been trying to lose some weight. I hate to admit it, I ain't quite what I used to be. Nothing you hear is what's really real. The only thing that even matters is the thing that you feel when you've been over the hill on the wrong side of the road again. Read some writing on a bathroom wall. Had a love down in Arkansas. I've been sick to my stomach, trying to forget what I saw. I guess everybody ain't too awful fond of everybody else when you're miles apart. I don't think that it helps to be over the hill on the wrong side of the road again. Feels like I knew you since we were 2. There have been some things said that have been less true. When I look in your eyes, I feel like a kid again. I don't think too much about the point of it all, 'cause I was thinking of you and I ran into the wall. Well, I've been getting bruised, making calls from up on a tightrope, trying not to fall. I got stopped in a swamp for doing 75 and he let me off the hook when I had no cheese to hide. Someday we'll all travel freely down the road and we'll stop where we want without getting towed instead of over the hill on the wrong side of the road again. Over the hill on the wrong side of the road again.
Wow, those were great songs. I hope you enjoyed them. I always love seeing those guys. And what you actually saw is they're performing from our interactive garage exhibit at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So when you come down and visit us at the Rock Hall, you can actually enter into that space, and even if you've never played any instrument before in your life, you're able to pick up a real instrument, guitars, keyboards, drums, and actually learn how to play those instruments for yourself, and maybe someday yourself performing with Ray and Brent. What we'd like to do now is actually hand it over to our friends at the Cleveland Public Library who have some stories to read for us. So take it away.
Hey y'all, it's me, Mr. J, here at the South Branch of the Cleveland Public Library. I have another fun book for us to read together. It's about one of my favorite things, guitars! This book is called The Coolest Noise by William Oceans and Ned Campbell. We are reading this with permission from Abominable Electronics and God City Instruments. Let's dive into this fun book. This is a string. Pluck it and it makes a cool noise. 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 Pluck it and it makes a co This is a guitar. It has 6 strings. Strum all 6 and they make an even cooler noise. There are a lot of different guitars and they all make a cool noise. They use things called pickups. Pickups send a noise from the strings through a cable to an amp. An amp is a box that uses speakers to make your noise louder. There are big ones, small ones, quiet ones, and loud ones, and they all make a cool noise. Now you know how to make a cool noise. The more you play and the more you practice, the cooler your noise will be. On your journey to find the coolest noise, you may want some extra tools. You may want to explore the wild world of pedals! Pedals are little boxes you connect to the cable between your guitar and your amp. There are weird ones, wild ones, spicy ones, and mild ones, and they all make a cool noise. With all their knobs and wires, switches and sliders, you can turn the noise from your guitar into something really cool. Like a cave monster! Or a glitchy broken robot, or an underwater opera singer, or a spaceship blowing up another spaceship, or even a time-traveling eyeball surfing on an abstract masterpiece. You can even combine pedals to create something only you can imagine. Along the path to finding your cool noise, you'll find the next important piece to the cool noise puzzle. Other cool noisemakers! Then you and your fellow noisemakers can combine all your noisy ideas into one super cool noise. Just as cake is better than the batter, noises become music when you make them together. When you make the coolest noise, you become the coolest you. The coolest noise comes from all the cool things you put together. Any guitar can be cool. It's what you do with it that matters. Amps help you get loud and put your cool noise out into the world. Pedals are cool tools you can use to make all kinds of cool noise. And most importantly, you found that the coolest noise is the one that gets made together. Now grab your gear and a few cool noisemakers and go make this world a cooler place. Go make a cool noise! Wasn't that a fun book? Well, I think it's time for me to go find some cool noisemakers and make a cool noise. Okay, cool noisemakers, let's make some noise. 1, 2, 3, 4, go!
Shh! You're in a library.
That was a great story. I love stories. They're some of my favorite things. Speaking of favorite things, one of my favorite things is instruments, musical instruments. And we have our friends at Keep Music Alive who are going to tell us all about instruments. Let's see what they've got.
Keep Music Alive is a national music education nonprofit. We are on a mission to help more kids and adults reap the educational, therapeutic, and social benefits of playing music. To help us do that, we founded 2 international music holidays, Teach Music Week in March and Kids Music Day in October. Each year, we now partner with over 1,000 music schools, music stores, and other music organizations to offer free lessons to new students and to hold special events and promotions that benefit and celebrate kids playing music. These events and promotions range from musical instrument petting zoos, student performances, instrument donation drives, kids open mics, instrument clinics, and even kids' music day sales on select instruments and lesson programs. People sometimes ask why we do what we do. Well, what we're not trying to do is turn every child into a professional musician. What we're actually trying to do is give every child the best possible chance of success no matter what career path they pursue later in life. Research has shown time and time again that introducing children to playing music at an early age improves math scores, science scores, reading comprehension, and a multitude of soft skills, including patience, discipline, and perseverance. Year-round, Keep Music Alive also hosts our own musical instrument petting zoo events, which are a lot of fun for everyone. Now you may be asking yourselves, what in the world is a musical instrument petting zoo? Well, we bring guitars, keyboards, ukuleles, and dozens of different types of percussion instruments for kids to play with. It's basically a Please Touch museum for musical instruments. Our volunteers help to introduce kids to various instruments, and many who are getting their hands on a musical instrument for the very first time. When we see kids' faces light up with big smiles, we know we're inspiring them to begin their own musical journey. What you're seeing here are pictures from some of our musical instrument petting zoo events, including one at the Rock Hall for Kids Music Day in 2019. We've also had the opportunity to host instrument petting zoo events at Legoland and other locations for children on the autism spectrum. Playing music often has the ability to help open up a child's world and social skills, creating lots of joy and opportunities they otherwise would not have. To get a good look at the instruments we bring, here is a brief video clip from one of our recent instrument petting zoo events.
Gently. How do you do like I can't do it. Look, the tips around. This way? You can hit it with the tips right there. Yeah.
Somebody sounds good on the guitar. Come on!
It is clear, right?
You can use a pick. Choose one of those picks. You like hit on the end? Yep.
Yeah, see now you get that. You won't get that sound if you're holding it with your hand.
Hey, how are you? Good. This is all us. Yeah. Sounds like a rattlesnake.
For more information on Teach Music Week, Kids Music Day, and our Keep Music Alive mission, we invite you to visit us at www.keepmusicalive.org.
That was great. Again, I love musical instruments because making music is one of my favorite things to do. What I'd like to introduce to you next is a great video that we have available on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame's free online education platform called Rock Hall EDU. This video is called Music and Social Justice, and it talks all about how music, especially popular music, has helped to push the conversation of social justice around the world forward for many, many, many decades. So please check this out, and you can always go and watch this video among many others on Rock Hall EDU at edu.rockhall.com. Let's take a look. Music, and rock and roll in particular, has a long history of responding to instances of injustice and inequality. From the protests and activism of the 1960s and 70s up through today, many musicians have recognized their ability to amplify the calls for social and cultural change. In this video, let's look at some key events from history and how music of that time reflected the attitudes and motivations of those activists and citizens. Then we will see how popular music today holds governments and societies accountable for the changes they have committed to make. While protests of racial segregation go much further back in the history of the United States, the civil rights movement of the 1960s was a special time of organized activists. Mostly comprised of college students, these groups found many ways of exposing the oppressive and bigoted Jim Crow laws for their unjustness. Powerful examples of this organized action were the peaceful protests known as sit-ins. Beginning in 1960, activists of different skin colors sat at lunch counters deemed as whites only in several southern states. While the protests always began peacefully, they were rarely met with peace and understanding. Many participants in these sit-ins, regardless of their skin color, were met by violent and abusive mobs before eventually being arrested and often abused by the authorities as well. Through the first 3 years of the 1960s, protests like these and other forms of grassroots activism charged up an entire generation of U.S. citizens. They began fighting for the change they wanted to see in their country at every level. The March on Washington for Jobs and Freedom in August of 1963 was a defining moment for the civil rights movement of the 1960s. It showed the federal government that these activists were serious and were not going to be silenced or pushed aside. Helping to cement music's role in this movement, many artists from a broad array of musical styles performed at this event. One of the most moving performances of the day was by folk singer Joan Baez. Standing before the crowd, she sang "We Shall Overcome." Originally a gospel song, "We Shall Overcome" was often performed by folk singers of the 1960s at various protests and rallies. However, this performance was an especially moving one. Typically performed as a sing-along, on this day, Baez, playing her acoustic guitar, was joined by the gathered crowd of 250,000. That many voices singing, "We shall overcome," in unison, poignantly demonstrated that change was only possible by working together. While change followed shortly after this event with the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965, life in the United States was still not equal and just for all citizens. Violent attacks on black churches, voter suppression efforts throughout the South, riots erupting in Midwestern cities following mistreatment of black citizens, and the assassination of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. showed that the United States was still not the land of the free for everyone. In 1971, soul singer Marvin Gaye released his song, "What's Going On?" He chose a musical environment which creates a feeling very different from the upheaval, tension, and frustration swirling about in the late 1960s. Opening with the sound of folks greeting each other, the song fades into a smooth, gentle, and calm soundscape, filled with wind instruments and strings playing to a quick but groovy beat. This soothes the audience, making them take time to consider what's going on, as Gaye describes the oppression and suffering plaguing the black community. As it was easy for many citizens at this time to see the laws passed in Washington, D.C. as the finale of the civil rights movement, "What's Going On" reinvigorated the spirit of many citizens to continue fighting for equality. The decades since were filled with continued instances of systemic racism.
More insidious than ever, these forms of oppression manifested themselves as wage gaps, mortgage refusals, defunding of public schools, and decreased access to opportunities for higher education, to name a few. In 2018, Janelle Monáe released her song, Americans, opening with a choir of voices singing Hold On, Don't Fight Your War Alone, and We'll Find a Way. She again establishes that change is only possible through organized group efforts. The song then changes abruptly to a driving rhythm created by synthesized drums and hand claps, with a melody of synthesized stringed instruments. While this more danceable pop sound certainly makes you tap your foot, Monáe uses the verses to expose and attack the systemic instances of sexism, homophobic discrimination, racism, and classism still present in society in her time. Much like Marvin Gaye's What's Going On, the song lists examples of these oppressions. Yet, in Americans, these are listed as ultimatums. Lines like, until women can get equal pay for equal work, are followed by the claim, this is not my America. Janelle Monáe has drawn the line in the sand, hoping that those who hear this song take time to help create an America she would call her own. Changes in cultures, governments, and societies are difficult to achieve. The songs and artists we explored here, along with so many other examples, show several ways for people of one group to share their experiences and their vision with their fellow citizens. By using catchy dance tunes or sing-alongs with purposeful and clever lyric deliveries, musicians and songwriters can access people as a music fan first. Then, over time, hopefully, their songs will erode hate, teach compassion, and as Marvin Gaye sang, bring some understanding here today.
I hope you enjoyed that video, and I hope you get a chance to check out more on Rock Hall EDU. Now we're going to send it back over to Erica from the Cleveland Public Library, who's got a book talk for us where she's going to talk all about some really cool music-related books that you can find at your local Cleveland Public Library branch. Take it away, Erica.
The first book I want to highlight is The Roots of Rap, written by Carol Boston Weatherford and illustrated by Frank Morrison. In The Roots of Rap, Carol talks about the history of hip-hop and how some of our famous, most notable hip-hop artists started in the music industry. This book is full of flavor, beautiful illustrations, and history. It also has a great deal of back matter, where children can learn more about the history and the timeline of some of the greatest artists of all time. Our next book is A Voice Named Aretha, written by Catherine Russell Brown and illustrated by Laura Freeman. In this children's biography picture book, readers will learn about Aretha's rise to fame, known as the Queen of Soul. They will also learn about how she gave back to her community and the businesses in Detroit, Michigan. Our next book is Nina, a story of Nina Simone, written by Tracy Todd and illustrated by Caldecott honoree Christian Robinson. In Nina, we learn about her musical journey, some of the obstacles she faced along the way, and how she used her powerful voice to fight against racial inequality and discrimination. We Shall Overcome is a famous gospel hymn. Using mixed media illustrations, Brian guides us through historical moments that people faced during the civil rights movement. That concludes the end of my book talk. Thank you so much for joining. Be sure to visit www.cpl.org to check out these books, and also rockhall.com to obtain Rock Hall EDU resources. Thank you. See you next time.
Thanks, Erica. I know several of those titles I'll be checking out with my library card sometime soon. Now, we're going to go back to the garage at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, where we're going to hear more from Brent and Ray from the Sunday Classic.
I am so old
Well, look at where you are. Where you're standing, what you're thinking. So much that you see. Are you where you want to be? Do you know what you were doing? You found your way around. The freedom's in the movement. Freedom's in the sound. I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so, I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so. We're all searching for connection. The places we collide. We might not know the answers. We can feel it deep inside. It's with every interaction. Do without being told. It's open for forgiveness. Richer than diamond to gold. I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so, I am so. We are more than the space that we are in. I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so, I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so. Sometimes when you're speaking, it comes up from within. Everything seems timeless, like you know where you have been. See the beauty in your surroundings, all bright rays of light. In this cosmic blessed universe, everything feels right. I am so, oh, oh, oh. I am so, oh. I am so, I am so. I am so spontaneous assembly. The branches intertwine, bone shakers, latchkey. This is only just a test. Old trails and matches. We will finally see just how it feels. Nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. And I tell you that those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. Are you a believer? What? A believer? I'm not sure what you mean. Storyteller, a secular. Are you asking for a friend? Static,
adolescent. But this weight on my mind, sometimes I wonder why nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. They tell you that those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. I'm old enough to know that the only way to get love is to give it. What happens when your dreams come true? There's nothing left to do but live it. You can say that it's luck. I know I tried. Hope well, persuasion. The best you've ever been, drawn to a mystical, a shade beneath the sun, keeping from harm. Nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. Nobody knows that but me. And I tell you that those are the good ones. Those are the good ones. And those are the good ones. Those are the good ones.
That was excellent. Those guys are awesome. Brent and Ray represent just the richness of Northeast Ohio's cool local band scene. And in fact, on that celebration day, that Sunday, October 24th, all of the bands that will be performing live on our outdoor stage will be local Northeast Ohio artists. So we hope that when you visit us that day, you get to hear some of that great Northeast Ohio sound. Now we have one more story from our friends at the Cleveland Public Library. Let's take a listen.
Hello everyone, my name is Miss Libby and I'm a children's librarian here at the Cleveland Public Library. Today, the book I will be reading you is called The Music of Life, written by Lewis Thomas and with permission from Macmillan Publishing. At night, when everyone else is asleep, you can be sure that an artist, someone, somewhere, is awake. Artists love to create at night. Lenny is an artist. He's a music composer. I'm going to write a symphony tonight, he said to his cat Pippo. But he'd been sitting at his desk for hours, and not a single note of music had come to mind. In front of Lenny, there was simply a blank page. He was starting to feel stuck, when suddenly Pippo gave him an idea. Lick, lick, lick. Lenny ran back to his blank page to write it down. And then... Flick, pluck, pluck. Oh, what is this? The leaking sink gave Lenny another idea. It's not a symphony, but it feels like music. So he wrote those notes down too. And before the sun was even up, Lenny heard birds gathering in the trees. Tweet, tweet, tweet. Do you hear what I hear, Pippo? Lenny asked his cat. More ideas are floating up to my ears. Below his window, in the dark streets before dawn, Lenny saw his neighbors begin to stir. Ms. Doynal was riding by on her bicycle. The corner baker was rolling up shutters, and just there a dog was barking. Ting, ting, ting. Woof, woof, woof. It's not a symphony, but it feels like music, Lenny told Pippo as he wrote down these notes too. That's when, buzz, 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 he heard another idea. I should go outside, Lenny said. There will be even more music in the park. So he ran. Squick, squick, squick. He passed the beehives. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Beyond them, the park was full of sounds, full of notes. The baby was laughing. Hee hee hee, ho ho ho, hoo hoo hoo. The gardener was raking. Swift, swift, swift. The motorcyclist was speeding. Vroom. The squirrels were nutcracking. Crick, crack, crack. Snails were passing by in silence. Silences are important in a symphony, thought Lenny. The pigeons were cooing. Caroo, caroo. The jogger was huffing. The ducks were quacking. Quack, quack, quack. Oh, yes, said Lenny. Now this feels like a symphony. The Symphony of Life. As Lenny walked home later that morning, he looked down at his paper. It wasn't blank at all. It was full of notes, full of ideas, full of life. The end.
That was another great story. I love listening to those. Well, I hope you've had a great time with us today. We are at the end of our program. Before we go, I have a few other things I'd like to share. First of all, another big thank you to our partners, the Cleveland Public Library, for helping us put on this program, for our great supporters from PNC who helped to make this program possible, and folks like Keep Music Alive who helped to provide some additional programming today, and of course, our talented performers, Brent, Kirby, and Ray Flanagan of the Sunday Classic. We've got more great events like this happening. Our program called Virtual Fam Jams are an online streamed event that we host every second Saturday of the month, starting next month on November 13th. For more information, you can go to rockhall.com and check out those pages there. Before we leave today, I want to go back and listen to some more Ray Flanagan and Brent Kirby from the Sunday Classic who are going to play us out. So thanks everybody, have a great day, and we'll see you next time.
Well, I'll always remember you lying on the ground, your handkerchief neck in your sad story town. You ever get hungry? You ever get dry? You go on down to Molly's, get some bread, wine, and pie. Who knows? Who cares? It's raining dumb out there. I turn you down, turn up there.
stupid sound. Woo, 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 woo. Well, it's right on to Ferndale where you had left a stain. I can hear your sweet crying, Gamp's Corners down the lane. We're rolling past midnight with many proofs to prove. I got $32, should get us in the groove. Who knows? Who cares? It's raining dumb out there. I turn you down, turn up that stupid sound. Woo, 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 woo. Well, if you pass the makers, please tell them I said hi. I've been drowning on Neptune, though I was just driving by. The paper says it's Friday, but I find it hard to tell, 'cause my memory says